Hello and welcome once again to Harm and More podcast. This is not just any other episode. I know you're very shocked to see a new face as a host, but I have something nice cooking today. Today, we're going to run things differently because this is our season finale. And today, I'll keep you guessing who is our good guest today. A very beautiful, exceptional woman who has given women the opportunity to tell their stories, give them a space to open up and talk about things that they never knew that they would put out there to the people to know. So today on set, I welcome a very, very beautiful, successful, soon to be the president of Africa on set, Mrs. Noellah Musundi.
Oh, wow.
How are you feeling today?
Good. What encouraging words and description. Feeling very well.
It's very honored to have you today on set as the guest.
It feels nice to sit on this side.
How do you feel?
There's something sweet on this side. I think for the next season, I'll be sitting on the right side. Then the guest sits on the left. It feels nice to just, flip on the other side of the coin.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
And today, guys, I feel like you will be really inspired by all the stories that Noellah is yet to give us today. But I really need you to stay tuned for a very inspiring message. Okay? So, as a lady who has always had a passion in so many things, you seem to be a person who was built from fire. You've struggled through much. Even though you seem happy every day, you smile, you wear a smile every day, we usually don't see what you go through inside. And I would like for you to take us back to your early ages. Tell us about how little Noellah was.
Little Noellah grew up being called Noe or Namu, which is my middle name, Namulanda. I grew up in a very ordinary family. My mother was a primary school English teacher. My father was a banker. We didn't have much, but we had enough. Two very hardworking parents who made sure that we had our basic needs. I come from a family of 9. I'm the 8th born, so you can imagine, the hard work my parents had to put in to take care of all of us. But I also started having a very extraordinary sense of responsibility from a very young age. I was that person. I love to cook, to clean, to organize things, organize people from a very young age. My father used to say, I'll be a leader. He was a politician himself at some point, and he thought I showed leadership from that early age. But looking at my parents every day, working so hard to make sure we did not miss a meal, we had a good roof above us, we attended good, decent schools, but also raising us in faith because they were staunch Catholics. Seeing them put in the work, put in the effort, put in the sacrifice for the sake of their kids, I started seeing that life is not that easy, and I think it's something that was embedded in me from a very young age. Life, there's the hard work you need to put in. But I also saw their strength. They're actually best friends. I saw their strength, and I learned that as much as life is not easy, life also gives you strength in different phases, in different chapters, in different pieces. And I saw that with my parents, how they were buddies, how they worked together to give us that Christian foundation, how they gave back, to the community. We were 9. But, our home, like where the public transport, the matatu used to pass, they used to say Noellah Musundi, because we grew up with, first cousins. So we were whole complex, at any point we were 20-something people in the home. And my father was a big believer in education, my mom. So there is power when you have just enough, but you also give. You end up never lacking.
Yeah.
back then, I think there were many things that started making sense here and there. All I knew was I wanted to carry on the values and the principles that I got from my parents. I knew I wanted to be someone. I knew I wanted good growth. But I also knew that if one day I rise, I'll want to rise but also lift other people. And that has been my life, rising and lifting.
So, from your story, I can see you come from a very humble background and have always had the urge to lift people up. Has that been part of your dream, or can you say is that a way that you're moving towards achieving your dream?
Lifting others has been part of me. Actually, it's like a backbone. Throughout my phases, from primary to high school to college to employment, I believe when you have enough, there's always enough for another person. You may have 100 shillings. You can split it. You can share. And at times, sharing what you have. Today, I feel happy. It's just sharing that smile with someone else, whether it's the guard at the gate, just giving them that happiness, putting that smile on their faces.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much is ever enough. I see people have billions, trillions, but how much is enough when you're not transferring that joy, you're not transferring that blessing, that favor. So that's my life. I've always been someone who shares. Yeah.
Are there some experiences during your early childhood or education that have shaped your life today?
For me, it's during early schooling. It's just seeing my parents wake up every day. They would have lived the most comfortable life by seeing them wake up every day to sacrifice for us. I think that gave me that purpose, that you don't have to sacrifice for your own benefit. They sacrificed and supported extended family, people from the community. That gave me a lot of purpose. And that really shaped me. But also growing up in a very staunch Catholic family. My father was in the seminary, but ended up not being a priest. Story for another day. Got into politics. My mother was, held a leadership position, Kitale Diocese. We grew up at somewhere called Amuka Farm, which is in Kitale. I remember in high school when people could ask, so where's your home? Where's your shags? I used to tell them I come from some place called Wake Up, because it's Amuka. Yeah. And this is like, oh my God, that's a cool name. It's like, only if you knew. So that Christian Catholic foundation really gave us values. We could never miss church. We did prayers at home. We learned the rosary. And my father was big on it. Anything will stop when it comes to time to worship. Also, there were great disciplinarians. My mother, proper traditional 844 mother, very well educated, very well cultured, but that discipline, my dad rarely beat us. But my dad will sit down with you, give you that hard talk. We used to be scared having that talk with my dad, because then he helped us see the bigger picture until you're even embarrassed on your behalf. You feel so ashamed. So that combination of, kiboko and the father who gave you the hard talk, he used to say he likes things in a straight line and above standard. So that gave me and my siblings a lot of good formation. I think also having parents who believed in education and did everything for us to have that good education. We all attended Catholic schools. I went to boarding. Actually, all the girls in my family, when you move from class 3 to class 4, we went to boarding at class 4. Then when I was in school, through primary and through high school, I was an altar girl. The altar, that these kids, when you go to Catholic churches, they're on the altar with the priest, they sit there. I was an altar girl. And I grew up being head of altar girl my entire high school. There's power in prayer, or there's power when you're within that spiritual please.
Yeah.
And I think it shaped me because, like, in primary and high school, I used to ask myself, when you're doing the Friday Mass, the Sunday Mass, people sing me on the altar. So I needed to embody, that character of someone who's disciplined, someone who's principled, someone who has values. Being an altar girl all the way to high school, it shaped me. It shaped me a lot. Working close with the priests. I went to St. Bridget's Girls, Kiminini, Kitale. So there was the convent, working with the sisters, working with the priests closely. You really don't have a lot of time for non-issues completely. And I had to, read the scriptures every day. So it shaped me. It gave me, that foundation.
Was that the point where you were able to see who you wanted to become and who you were not?
Somehow it was the preamble of finding myself. And in that service, I knew I wanted to impact people and impact communities. To date, actually, my dream, which I usually tell as I age, I would want to wake up, Angel. You call me and I tell you I'm in Turkana, I'm doing some work in community. Or someone else will call me tomorrow, I'm telling you I'm in, Marsabit somewhere. I think growing up in that service, seeing my parents do that service, within our extended family, within the community we lived in, because I grew up in rural Kenya. We grew up on the farm. I'm a farm girl. I'm not a town girl. Today, if I have to go back to the farm, anytime. But also giving that service now, and especially high school, because then it was a big responsibility being the head of altar girls, and I think I became one when I was in Form 2. They saw the leadership, the commitment. That was the starting point of, maybe I'm built to serve. Then, of course, going into college, it was a redefining moment because my first, my undergraduate degree in journalism, actually I was supposed to be a journalist. Everybody thought I'll be a journalist growing up. So when the time came to choose the subjects, my mom was like, you're the journalist in the family. So I went to USIU to do journalism. But when I got there, USIU was USIU back then. We were just a few of us, not big number. Frida Brown, oh, God bless her, there was so much we learned. But it was also that point of either you're able to build yourself or you're able to lose yourself, because it was quite, liberal, But every day, I think I had to intentionally remind myself why I was there. Because my friends, they all came from very wealthy families, kids to ministers, the who and the who in this country. Because USIU then was that, it was a rich college. My mother had retired. My mother was a fresh widow when I was joining USIU. I think she was like, 2-3 years of being a widow. So every day I reminded myself the sacrifice my mother back in Kitale she's doing. We've always been amazed farming family, of course, Kitale being the food basket. My mom will harvest, and all the money she'll make, the first thing is to pay my school fees. And for her, she was like, it's the only investment she can give all of us. And all my other siblings, we all went to good colleges, some outside the country. Not that we were rich, but they sacrificed everything. So USIU with the environment back then, I would have lost myself if I wasn't grounded in purpose and why I was there. And from there, I knew I needed to work extra hard, because then you could see privileges. I didn't have the privileges. Some kids will be dropped to school every day. Those who will drive themselves. First years, but you're driving yourself. When you hear stories where people go on holiday, for me, I always went back to Kitale or stayed with my older siblings. The most we went is to Mombasa, because one of my older sisters was in Mombasa. And I saw the imbalance of life. The haves and the have not. And I knew I really needed to put in more than normal effort for my growth to build the people around me, my family, to also ensure. I used to tell my mom, like, Mom, don't worry, just sacrifice it all. One day, Mom, I'll give it back to you. I'm happy that today, we all work so hard to make sure our mom is comfortable. So that was that was a reality that's, oh wow, when you're up country, you don't see it because all of you are just, middle class, struggling.
Yeah.
But I saw a real life imbalance between the rich and those who, we are just striving, struggling. And I knew education was my ticket to growth.
And from your story, which honestly, I'm very much, I feel like seeing you as a leader outside is a shell you've been able to build over the years through things you have gone through, the way you've been raised, even to the way you've turned out to be as a person. And it is really
I'm still grilling myself, yet to be fully cooked.
I can see the fire. It's actually there.
Yeah.
So this has actually given me a journey through your life. It's made me understand where you were able to see an opportunity when you're in campus and you had to experience pressure, ambition, and power. And some of it usually makes people at such an age to lose hope in the middle of it all, because you look at things and you're like, you start feeling sorry for yourself because of maybe you are not very happy at home, or maybe things are not looking good at home. And you've proven to us that feeling sorry for yourself won't work at all. So it's actually very inspiring to see that resilience can actually take you somewhere. And Noellah actually should see it. So leaving employment behind after campus, after everything, to build your own career, to be your own boss, what are some of the sacrifices you had to make?
Something funny, and I think this is something I've always talked about. We always see the tail end of that journey, of people's journey. The glamour, the success, the wins. But there's always this process that is very inward. A lot of people don't see it. Leaving employment, it wasn't a bold, glamorous decision. It was a necessary decision. And for me, I wanted to build something my own. I used to say one day, when I have kids, back then, when I have kids, I want to build something for my children so that one day when I'm not there, they have something, they have a foundation, okay? I left employment because, at times you're so comfortable when we know we have that paycheck at the end of the month. But there's power when at times you walk away from that certainty into the unknown. I walked into the unknown. I remember my family, my friends, people thought I was crazy and mental, that was 2019. Of course, the stories of mental health had started. People thought I was going through a phase, but I wasn't. I didn't plan for it. I just woke up one day and I said, I need to leave. My boss then, Dr. Bas Goulet, was the Secretary General. Someone I really treasure. Actually, a lot of pieces in me, they've been built by that man. And he used to call me, we msichana wa kibukusu. It's like, msichana wa kibukusu wacha mchezo. Kaambia, Dr. Bas, I've loved my job. I'll continue being a Red Crosser, but it's time for me to enter into that next phase, the unknown phase. I want to build something. I want to challenge myself. I want to build an empire in my own definition, for myself, for my kids, and for generations that will come after that. I left. I told myself I was going to take a break of about 3 months, just rest, then figure out what I want to do. I never took that break until 2024 because I left, and some partner that we used to work with back then called, asked, and they told, Noellah left. They reached out. I started getting engaged as a consultant. Namu Communications then had started in 2015. You know, they register companies like, one day.
Yeah.
So I came fully now and I said, oh my God, I've just left. It's barely a week. I'm getting my first consultancy. And I looked back every day, I could wake up and tell God, indeed, you're a God of order. For me, I was planning to go on a 3-month sabbatical to just rest. After, you know, being in employment for a while, I started working quite early. In my second year, I started working as a host of a show on KBC. It was called The Taj Show. And I started working because I needed to supplement what I was getting from my mom. I could see, you know, her hustle is like, at least let me work and make some little money for my pocket money. I was becoming a young adult, you know, catering from my, you know, feminine needs and so forth. So I started in 2005 working, side hustle.
While still in campus.
I wasn't a rich kid, remember. But of course, I did to, you know, have my needs, dress well, you know, get there and so forth. So I started appreciating work and work ethics from 2005 in my second year.
If you don't mind me asking, what actually connected you to that first gig and how did you feel about it?
So it's the most interesting story. So at that time, I have a friend of mine called Grace. She was the one who was supposed to audition. She got wind of it. Then she called me. It's like, hey, I've gotten this gig. It's like, I need to get you ready. I need to get you ready for it. Because then I was doing journalism. We had already been taught about the basics of being a journalist. You know, how do you appear on TV? You know, your nonverbal, you know, your diction, how coherent you're supposed to be. So I trained her. You know, I came, it's like, come. Show me your script, because you have to do like a script. You're hosting, you're introducing a show. So we did that. Then we went. So I told her, hey, for your first one, I'm taking you. So we went to KBC. She was, I think, the second last person. But when we got there, you know, of course, I think a sad thing is when you go for an interview and you see the lines of people, but you see, you know, everyone hoping it's their breakthrough. So there are quite a lot of ladies who had come for it. And on the queue, you know, as you're waiting, you know, the first person will go, they come out, how are the judges? How are they? Then I just kept telling her, you know, you need to do this, you know, make sure, remember this, remember that. Then some ladies on the queue saw me prepping her. So they asked, it's like, please, can I do for you my intro so that you tell me if it's good? So I just started, like, you know, coaching people on the line. What I didn't know, that actually the judges, I think there's one who walked out, or they had other, you know, the person who was admitting people and kept communicating. He's like, hey, there's a girl who's prepping people and I think she's good. You need to interview her. So anyway, so we finished my friend interviews. Then as she's stepping out, she's asked to ask her friend to come and audition. So I laughed. It's like, me? I don't want to be a host of a program. It's like, I'm okay. It's like, and they insisted. It's like, no, what do you lose? Just audition. So it was back and forth. I don't want to audition. It's like, I didn't come. It's her who wants to audition. I'm still in school. I really want to focus on my studies. And they said, what do you lose? It's just about 3 minutes. You lose nothing in auditioning. So anyway, you know, the way you audition to just make, you know, to just meet tick off a box so that they don't bother you. So I auditioned and they told me, you're our new host.
Before?
On the spot.
Oh, wow.
And that was it.
How did your friend feel?
You know, when you have a true friend, it's a bit, you know, they had the hope, but they become happy for you that, you know, I didn't get it, but my friend got it, not just anyone else. So she was happy. And she was like, you know what? God knows why we've been doing this. It was meant for you. She also came from a very Christian family. It's like, you know what? This was yours. Mine will come. And like 3 months later, there was another audition, a different program. She came, auditioned, and got. So we became, both of us became hosts of programs at a very young age on KBC. Wow. Yeah.
That's really nice. That's really inspiring.
Yeah. Yes.
And now taking us now after your first employment phase throughout, then you broke off, started Namu Communications.
Yeah.
Then how did you build yourself from that? And are there any challenges you faced that have shaped you today?
For Namu, yes. And I'll come to it because it's like the latest phase of my wave of challenges that have built me. I think I've had two critical defining moments that really challenged my faith, challenged what I believed in. The first one was, you see, when I was doing the show at KBC, it was a part-time job, okay? Then I did it until about, I think, 2008 before I graduated. Then USIU had an arrangement with newsrooms in Kenya, so they'll post like the top 3. So I was taken to NTV to be attached to Money Matters. There was a show called Money Matters. And something just wasn't, I didn't fit in, Newsrooms were newsroom back then. We hear stories about newsroom. I was this naive girl from Amuka Farm, Kitale. I didn't know so much things, so many things. So I left. There's a time KTN were doing interviews for new anchors. It was the cohort that had Betty Charlock and Joy Doreen Bira. Again, it just didn't work because the expectations beyond just doing the screen test. Went to Citizen, again, same thing. Then I just called my mom and I told my mom, I know I've always wanted to do this, but I don't think this is my path because it does not align with a lot of things I believe in. So I left. Then took myself back to school to do my master's at the University of Nairobi in Communication and Information Studies. At that time when I officially finished school, because I used to have this side gig, from 2008 when I first graduated, I stayed until 2013. It's when I got my first formal employment in Bungoma County when devolution was just starting. I was the director of communication, the first cohort. I was based in Bungoma. So from 2008, 5 years of trying to get a permanent job, and even also choosing to just go back because nothing was coming. And I don't know whether you guys have gone through, for us, we used to work with a brown envelope. You print your cover letter, you print your CVs like 30 copies. You wake up every day, you're just dropping. At times you drop in an office and as you're leaving, you can see it being thrown in the dustbin. But you tell Sophie, it's okay. A breakthrough will come. So that was quite trying. You're thinking, hey, my mother's worked very hard. I've gone to the best university, but no jobs are coming. Got opportunities in the newsroom. It did not align with my beliefs, my principles. And it starts testing you, But in between, I still, my mom, we grew up, my mom used to tell us, we serve a God of order. It's like, what, despite all, we serve a God of order. God, one day at the right time, it shall come. So when Bungoma came, I packed and relocated to Bungoma. That time Bungoma was very rural. Before counties started, counties were so rural. But for me, it was the excitement. Finally, I have my first formal job with all the benefits. So that was one moment. The other moment, I think it's the loss of my sister. My sister was called Dolores. There's this funny bearded prophet, Owor, this funny guy. I call him funny because for us, we experienced it as a family. My sister was the first death in his church. That is 2007. I have, memories here, a big one, because it was a painful phase. We are 4 girls. So my big sisters grew up being like twins. I grew up being a twin with her. We are 5 girls before my young mother's daughter complains because she came way late. At times I even forget. So when my sister died, she died in very mysterious circumstances in Spring Valley. That time the church used to have accommodation there. Then in that process, she was literally littered at Kenyatta Hospital. Like she was just littered. She was literally thrown there dead.
From a moving vehicle? Did they even bother to call the nurses?
She died because of fasting. They were supposed to fast for 40 days like Jesus. And my sister was this strict person. You tell her, Dolores, you need to do this. She was very principled and she respected rules. So her She struggled to fast for 40 days. In between, her system just collapsed and she died. Very sad story because there was opportunity for her to be saved.
True.
But it was believed if she dies as a martyr. No one saw the reason why she should be taken to hospital. So she died in that accommodation in Spring Valley. And when it hit them, they tried to sneak her into Kenyatta Hospital. But it was too late. To cut the story short, it hit me because we are very close. What hit us even most, because she had left the Catholic Church and now she was in this church of this funny Mr. Beard. By coincidence, the day we were burying her, they were having a crusade in Kitale. Nobody from that church came to bury their own. Nobody came. And they were in Kitale. Not that war, not the members of the church, nobody showed up. For them, she had passed on. She's a martyr. The work of the Lord was going on. But we said it is fine. You know, I remember my mother crying, saying, this God I serve, he's a God of order. He's a God of vengeance. He's a just God. I leave it to you, God. My daughter has died. They've brought her dead. No one has bothered to come and bury her. Because, you know, the Catholic Church, when you move out of the Catholic Church, like the priests will come. They will attend, you know, the funeral, but they cannot administer mass. So in that process, my mom had to just get a local pastor from the village to come and do the prayers, and we were buried. I think to me, because we're very close, but also my entire family, it really tested us. First death in 2007, and I bumped into him here and there. He knows my face because he used to come for Bible study, you know, in our home. But it's fine. So that was challenging. You asked about Namu.
Yeah.
I think Namu started beautifully when I left employment. Started because it was a smooth transition where I thought I will take a break. Then I started getting consultancy and we just kept working. But when we rebranded in 2025, after 10 years, to now Namu Africa. You know, rebrand comes with expectation, rebrand, then together with my colleagues, we saw the need to, you know, expand. We got into podcasting business. So we have this one, Hamemwa. We have DEFCOM Africa, which both of them, this is the last season, you know, this is the season finale for Hamemwa. DEFCOM Africa, we just concluded. Frequency Z is concluding, you know, next week. We have 2 episodes to go. Have you ever had fire in you? You know, I want to have this Pan-African conversation. People need to listen to what's happening on the continent. People need to know they can be part of the agenda on the continent. Oh, we need to celebrate women who are doing remarkable work. So you have this great idea.
And I actually agree with you because now that you mentioned DEFCON, I remember an episode I watched of Nerima where she said power begins at the bottom.
It begins at the bottom.
Because we can't change the systems that are out here right now.
But we can start from somewhere, everybody.
I agree.
Oh, there was that vision, there was that dream. And, you know, you'll expect, you know, you'll be able to build communities. People will see the bigger picture, what you're trying to do. You'll get partners, you know, there'll be viewership and so forth. I think starting the podcast, still the fire is there. Beautiful, untested waters we've gotten into as Namu Africa. But the pickup in terms of building an online community and offline community has been low. Usually, you know, that days like we even invite a guest, they cancel last minute, or they show up very late, or they don't even show up without, you know, explanation. You post an episode and you're thinking, this is a conversation that people need to hear. And that pickup has been slow. I think in between, of course, you want to get to that bigger picture. But I like that how we've stuck with the team. It's like, you know what, we just started last year. We are barely a year. And the dream is still there that we are all carrying. And I know we will get there. So those have been those moments, you know, my top.
And I see today you've brought for us something on set.
Yeah.
It's a very pretty bottle. I'm guessing you painted it yourself?
I painted it. I have a very good friend of mine that we've been working with, and we started something with her. She started something very beautiful. I brought it because I know you, that at some point you'll want to know the things that make up my life.
Yes.
Everything on this bottle defines me. So this is my firstborn, Fadili. This is my secondborn, Faraji. This is me, Noellah. This is us, Musundi. This bottle is very colorful with different pieces because it brightens our life. You know, this team, you know, this squad here, it's what makes me wake up every day and work this hard. It's what, when I sleep, when I see them, they give me a sense of belonging, a sense of purpose. They shape my identity, they shape my expectations, they shape my dreams and ambition and everything else. That's why this bottle is here. So when you told me yes, I said I'll carry something that defines me in many ways.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's very beautiful. I feel like it has a deeper story into it.
One day I'll give you the story. Very deep story. Yes, indeed.
Okay. And is there something that you know deep down inside yourself that you have faced that people do not know? And you feel like if someone else was in my shoes, I would be able to change it for them?
I think for me is I wished when I was getting into work that someone held my hand or someone stopped to listen and saw that there was something special, something unique in me and helped me to build that. And going through my experience, I told myself one day, as I rise, whether it's with NAMO, with DEFCOM, or in my Christian journey, I must have at least 2-3 people that I'm lifting. Because at times when you're a blessing to someone, that someone will be a blessing to another person. And the cycle goes on.
Yeah.
As it keeps going on, then we are lifting people within our communities, within our counties, within our, we keep lifting. The world becomes a better place. I just wish people stop to listen. And that's why I'm always very keen when someone is seeking for help or someone, I'll stop to listen. If it's not within my ability, I'll try and recommend someone, or connect you to someone.
Yeah, and as a person who's been always reinventing and is still reinventing herself, what does reinvention look like to you?
Reinvention. I think most of us, reinvention, a lot of people try to become someone new.
Yeah.
And I'll give you a case like for women, they'll cut their hair, they will dye their hair, they'll change jobs, you want to relocate to a different place. And I think even for men, like you try to erase something, to erase your current, to start a new life. But for me, I think reinvention is letting go what is no longer true. That which feels dead, feels fake, shred it. Separate yourself from it. Because then reinvention is keeping what is blooming within you, but shredding what is not true and what is not giving you peace or giving you happiness or, defining your journey or accelerating your journey.
Funny thing is, I feel like you're speaking to me.
Really?
Because I've seen your life journey and I can put myself in almost every shoe you fit in.
Yeah.
And even as of now, there's some things, it gets to a point as a girl you think of, oh, I should start doing this, I should start doing that. And I feel like I'm at that phase right now.
Yeah.
And the steps you're giving me to trying to break off my comfort zone, break off limitless places, it's actually very inspiring. And honestly, I would make my parents watch this episode.
Shred what is no longer true.
Yes.
What is no longer working, shred it. That's reinvention. Not stopping what is beautiful, what is working.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would like for us to, just before we close, I have one more thing I wanted to ask you. This might be a bit off script, but when someone decides to carry your baton, how would you want them to represent you?
When someone carries my baton, I wouldn't want it to be about the good side of my journey, you know, the wins, the achievements, the successes. I want it to be about stories of the people I have touched, the people I've mentored, the people I've lifted, the impact I've created, both in small, medium, and big ways. I want that light to be there. And every day I tell my kids, actually when they go to school, I remind them, remember to do a kind thing. They know, Papa, remember to do a kind thing. And when I pick them up, I'll ask them, what is the kind thing you did? Oh, someone fell, I helped. Oh, I helped the teacher to do this. I want it to be about the impact, not my wins, not my accolades. The impact I've created in different spaces, in the lives of different people, whether it's my family, my neighbors, my colleagues, and just strangers. Actually, I think I've touched more strangers than even people known to me. And I learned it from my mom. That bless strangers, bless strangers. I joke when I'm meeting, my friends, I tell them every time we go to withdraw money from the ATM, there's always a guard who is guarding your money at the ATM and also guarding your security. When the ATM machine just rolls, the way it rolls quickly, you've withdrawn 20,000. Do you even think to just give that person there, the lady or the gentleman, 1,000 shillings? It's like bless strangers. It's like that 1,000 shillings may change so much in that list. So I tell people, find a way to bless strangers. It doesn't have to be monetary. It may just be lighting up people's spirits. That's a blessing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And right before we go to our one sentence answers, who are you becoming in this current chapter of your life?
I'm becoming a woman anchored in purpose. I'm becoming someone who is very intentional, very purposeful, someone who is bigger on what matters. And at times what matters is just wanting to be peaceful and give other people peace and so forth. Loosely, there's this phrase people say, me, myself, and I. But me, myself, and I with the people that really matter. I want my life to be very purposeful, and I've gotten into that space. In the process of becoming this person I am today, of course, you lose friends, you lose identities, you even lose relationships, you lose opportunities. But it makes me sleep well, and it makes me wake up well, and it makes me to be peaceful. Yeah.
That's nice. Well, thank you for that introductory part of our podcast. And as we gauge towards the end, I would like for you to give us your closing reflection. And I have some questions for you. And today will be reverse roles play.
I know.
So the first question is, if your life were a book, what would the title be?
Built in the Fire.
Built in the Fire. Wow. We've all seen the fire.
Built in the Fire.
Okay. And if this season of your life were a chapter, what would it be called?
Double Trouble, Double Transformation.
Now you've mentioned double trouble, I remembered something you once told us.
What did I say?
You said that you were always troublesome when you were in school, always
double
fighting
trouble.
For good.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Double trouble.
I agree there.
double trouble, double transformation.
That's nice. If your life were a symbol, what would it be and why?
I love the phoenix. I've always loved the phoenix. And in this case, I'll call it the African phoenix.
Yeah.
The phoenix, when you look at the phoenix, it's always in rising position. And always those two little red lines, the fire.
Yeah.
And I think that really represents my life. I've risen from pain. I've risen from disappointments. I've risen from just even my faith being tested, but always rising. So African Phoenix.
Okay.
Yeah.
And a quote or mantra you live by?
Reinvention is not about transforming into someone new. It's about letting go what is not true anymore.
That's very sharp. Okay. What single word or phrase best sums up your journey?
Always rising like the African Phoenix.
What does winning mean to you now?
Winning to me is peace of mind, having purpose, lifting others, and creating impact that puts smiles on other people's faces.
Okay. What keeps you moving on your hardest days?
Prayer and my kids.
Oh.
Yeah, prayer and my kids.
Okay. And lastly, if you could dedicate your memoir to one person, who would it be and why?
One person, or can it be one category of people? To be these two boys, Fadili and Faraji. My mother who is still a very strong pillar in my life and my family. Yeah.
That's very inspiring.
Yeah. But these are my heartbeats. These two guys.
Oh.
Yeah.
I hope you have watched this episode. Mom has given you a shout out.
I know, right? And I hope one day one of them can pick up the baton and run.
They definitely
and
will.
run the entities one day and be part of the entities.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So now that was it. How do you feel being interrogated?
It feels nice to be on this side. Nearby, Newton and Ryan. I think moving forward, I'll want to sit on this side. There's something nice on the right side. So it feels nice. It's always good to share your journey, as we keep saying. There's something that from your journey that can light a fire in someone, that can rebuild the pieces in someone that were breaking, that can give someone a purpose. And there's always glory to God in sharing your story. You don't know the good that can bring.
True.
Yeah.
So that was very inspiring, and I really hope you stuck to the end to hear all these inspiring moments our host has experienced, and she's been courageous enough to tell us her story. So don't be scared. And just before we finish, we would like to do our usual tradition here at Ham and More Podcast and gift her today as a guest. So I would like to call my colleagues on set to come and help
love
me
nice
gift.
things. I love gifts.
So
Come, Sharon, come. Newton, come. There's power on the right in the
Like,
bike.
come.
To the power on the right. Ryan, you're taller.
Nah, don't do that.
You're taller towards the ground. So you have to be in.
So,
You're wonderful
Noellah,
people. Yes.
as the Hamemo team, we would like to conclude this season with very many thanks to you, and thanks to all the women you've connected us to, all the inspiring stories you've given us, and the opportunities you've given us to see on sets, even while behind the camera, even while inside the camera. Oh, no, inside the camera. In front of the camera. So, yeah.
We understand you come from Bungoma, so it's fine. Inside the camera.
So we would like to leave you with something small. It's not smaller than the greatness you've filled in us, and yeah.
Oh wow! Thanks. This is very thoughtful.
Yeah. So
you guys have been plotting and planning.
yeah.
Oh wow!
So
Thank
yeah,
you.
that's just what we could get for now. But don't worry.
I know great things are coming, right?
Yeah.
Ryan, great things are coming.